So I'm pleased to bring a guest in who has a brand new book. It's called Inside Unmasked Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy. Andy No is the author. He's coming to us from London, England. Now, you may know Mr. No because he was the primary reporter on the Portland, Oregon riots caused by Antifa. They attacked him, beat him up, almost killed him. He knows more about the organization than anybody I know. Now, I have read his book. I took the time to read the entire book, and it's an excellent book. If you really want to know what's going on here, Unmasked, you should read it. And it's very well documented. It's not one of these CNN, well, sources close to said. Everybody's named, document right down to the lowest level. All right, first question, Andy, and thanks for helping us out over in London. What's the difference, in your opinion, between Antifa and Proud Boys?
Well, the ideologies are completely different. I do think it's fair to describe the Proud Boys as extreme because several of their members have been convicted of criminal activities before, and currently they're under investigation for alleged role in what happened on in the Capitol on the 6th of January. Antifa, on the other hand, they're much more, they're harder for people to understand because they operate as cells that are connected by networks. And a lot of these groups and cells don't even have Antifa in the name. So there's always plausible deniability in their actions. So, for example, I document quite meticulously in the book the actions that they carried out in American cities last year. And then my detractors would turn around and say, how do you know this is Antifa? Just because they're dressed in this particular way, just because they say certain things, how do you know it's Antifa? So they're organized in a way that gives them this ability to sort of deny that they even exist.
Okay, but there's enough of them in Portland and Seattle and other cities that say we are. I mean, they're admitting it. They use social media to organize, though. They still use social media to say, we're going to be here. You might want to show up there, don't they?
Yes, they do. So one question I get asked a lot is, how can we actually stop them? Well, first, big tech needs to step up. And if they're going to talk about rooting out violent extremist groups and groups that organize violence, well, they can't say that if they're only going to go after one side and allow Antifa to organize. So much of the riots that happened in Portland last year actually were organized on Twitter. For example, they were promoted and shared hundreds and thousands of times. Every day a new flyer was coming out that gave information for where people can meet. People were also creating like GoFundMe accounts, creating accounts on Cash App and Venmo to raise hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars to cover everything from riot gear, accommodation, travel, weapons, etc. So big tech is, they're part of the problem here.
Okay, so they use that as their primary communications form. You have an interesting chapter in the book. Again, the book is named Unmasked, where you link up Black Lives Matter Global Foundation with Antifa. Do you think they work together?
They do work together. If you go to any BLM protests over the past few years, you'll see Antifa volunteering as security. And the DC chapter of Black Lives Matter, which is one of the largest in the US, their social media, their official verified Twitter account, has all these posts throughout last year calling for their supporters to come support Antifa at their various events. These two movements are different in that they have different origins and different ultimate agendas, but they have a partnership now because they share a mutual enemy in the United States. BLM makes no secret of their desire to dismantle the criminal justice system, to abolish police, to abolish capitalism, to abolish the traditional family. These are all things that they have in common with Antifa.
Okay. Did you see in the course of your research any media organization, national or local in Portland or Seattle, that covered Antifa properly, fact based, really let the folks know what was going on?
By and large, no. So Antifa had became a mainstream phenomenon starting in 2016 because of the useful idiots in the legacy media and the mainstream media and entertainment and culture who actually think that these violent extremists are anti-fascist. And so we were getting exposed day in and day out to this propaganda that the election of Trump signaled ascendant American fascism, that we were on the cusp of another Holocaust. So it gave a lot of legitimacy for Antifa's violent actions to move from the fringe far left straight into the mainstream left, to the point of where you see Democrats denying the violence of Antifa, refusing to denounce them. Some don't even recognize that Antifa exists. But journalism, I would say, has done the most damage because it's put into the minds of people that Antifa are merely anti-fascists who are opposing neo-Nazis and the far right, rather than anarchist communists who are trying to destabilize parts of the United States through acts of domestic terrorism, such as setting fires to government buildings where people are inside, bringing
Sure.
knives and homemade
Yeah, and
explosives to their riots.
they beat you up, and that's a harrowing part of your book. You know, I used to work in Portland at Channel 2, KATU TV. When I was there, the coverage never would have been done. I mean, obviously, I would have covered it, and I would have covered it hard. Why did Antifa choose Portland and Seattle to really make their stand in those cities?
Portland, I think, became the epicenter of American Antifa because of its unique place as a political left-wing monoculture. So, and it's a smaller size city. So everybody on city council, all the mayors, and the entire populace are really probably further to the left than mainstream Democrats, in that you'll see like the Democratic Socialist America, a lot of their activism. And so when there's no counterpoise in the city, in these areas like Portland and Seattle, there's no mechanism for Democrats and progressives to actually moderate. They're always constantly being pushed further to the left by the radicals in the city who try to
Did the
move over to the
police
window.
did the police in Portland and Seattle despise Antifa?
Well, they've been injured by the hundreds by Antifa, and um, I have a lot of sympathy for the beat cops. But when it comes to why police are feckless, it's really because of poor leadership coming from above. Portland's political structure is also part of the issue, in that our
Yeah.
mayor is also the police
Yeah,
commissioner, and
Wheeler and all
so
that. And the DA doesn't prosecute there, the district attorney of Multnomah County and all that. So they're pretty much getting what they deserve out in Portland and Seattle. I mean, if you're going to be this hospitable to a violent anarchist group, this is what you're going to get. Final question. You got a new book. It's a good book. Are you having any trouble booking yourself on CBS, ABC, NBC, these kinds of places?
oh, they won't even care to have me on. CNN is the only left of center station that ever had me on, and that was after I was beaten in 2019. And even when my face was all bruised and scabbed up, I was asked some questions that sort of framed me as the aggressor in some way, in my opinion.
So your publisher can't get you on Good Morning America, the Today Show, those kinds of things.
No, it's because the legacy media is not interested in the excesses from their own side.
Yep. Fox News?
Fox News, I've been on, thankfully.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Andy, good luck with it. We really appreciate it. You know, stay strong, continue the good reporting. We need it. Well, Joe Biden is going to be president, and we may be in for some economic uncertainty. That's why now more than ever, I recommend you diversify with gold and silver. The only company I recommend is American Hartford Gold. So please call them right now and tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they will give you up to $1,500 of free silver on your first order. Now, since I've been recommending American Hartford Gold, gold itself up over 40%, silver up over 60%. So don't wait. Call 866-501-5201. That's 866-501-5201, or text BILL to 65532. Bill O'Reilly here. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure you subscribe to the First TV YouTube page. Just hit the big red subscribe button below, and you'll get clips and highlights of my program, The No Spin News, every single day. We'll see you soon.